are back with Speedrun Ragnarok 2022, presented by the RPG Valkyries, benefiting Take This, which is an organization dedicated to helping to improve the mental health of gamers. They are dedicated to normalizing discussion of mental health topics in gaming, helping gamers to get the support and help that they need to live thriving lives. What a great organization. I am so happy that we are working with such a cool group of people. All right, well, we are about to jump into our Hades run, but first, I need to make a retraction. Earlier, I said that the Gardic Phone bid wars were for whether we were going to have a second and third game of Gardic Phone. That is incorrect. We are going to have 3 games regardless. What we are bid warring on is what kind of Gardic Phone game they will be. So, the second game, right now, we have the option of a speedrun, a sandwich, or a secret. None of those options have bids on them right now. So now's your chance to swoop in for that second game. The third game, interestingly enough, has $10 on secret. We've got a little while before this one starts. In fact, it's going to be at 4:20 p.m., so in about 7 hours, according to my time zone. Nice. So definitely get those donations in throughout the day, and I would love to see these bid wars just take off. Okay, everyone, we have a very special run for you. This is Sergeant Mug doing Hades, that game from Supergiant that everyone loves. Everyone loves it. I don't think I've ever heard... No, actually, I think I did hear one person say that they didn't like Hades once, but they're definitely in the minority. I've also never played Hades, so I'm looking forward to seeing what all the fuss is about, and maybe starting my own Hades addiction over the weekend. Alright, Mug, I think we are ready for you. It's go time.
Okay, thanks for having me. Yeah, Happy Bear, when you see what's going on, don't think that your first time playing will look like this, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless.
No, I'm totally going to be the most epic Hades player ever.
I mean,
100%.
if anyone would be right out the gate, I mean, come on.
Oh, now I'm blushing.
Alrighty, so to prepare for this, I'm gonna equip my favorite items and whatnot, so you have like a big array of weapons you can use, but my favorite is the gun. I already have it equipped because it's the only one I ever bother to play with. So basically, just since it's gonna go by very quickly, I just wanted to briefly sort of explain the main kind of move. You can just shoot the gun like normal, or the key sort of gimmick of this weapon is this big like lobbing bomb. If I stand in the explosion of the bomb, you see Zagreus is like glowing right now. He gets like a brief power up. So if I get caught in the bomb, I'm stronger for a few seconds, and I'm really going to be taking advantage of that. That's pretty much the gist of it. The other thing I wanted to explain is that don't worry about all this stuff. It's very complicated, but there's a few options here that make the game more difficult, and you're supposed to do it to unlock more collectibles and things like that, but a few of them actually make the game a little bit faster for us. So this forced overtime gives all of the enemies extra move speed and attack speed, which does make them more difficult to fight, but it also makes them, faster, which helps us get through the rooms quicker. So that among a couple other things. And so time's gonna begin when I click this begin escape button. So I guess I'll just count down and then we'll get right to it. I've stalled long enough. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go on go. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Elysium. It isn't for
So basically, in the point of the game is that you are playing as Zagreus, the son of Hades, and you're basically tired of living with your father. You want to know what's all the good things out in the world, and to learn more about the other gods and all that stuff. So you're trying to escape from the underworld, and the way you can get aid doing it is by the various gods from Olympus send their aid to you. So just in the first room, I picked up a power-up from Zeus. He lent me a lightning attack, and that's pretty much what we're going to be relying on throughout the run, is finding different gods who offer me, you know, better power-ups and stuff that I want. And I can't find the enemy. And along the way, I'll pick up other items, like this is a pomegranate of power, which will power up my abilities and stuff like that.
Do that.
The key is basically just wanting to be standing within that big old target as often as I can, even if it means, you know, getting close to the enemy, because I would rather tank a little bit of damage in order to, you know, get a big power up. Now this portal right here with the spooky eyes is going to be a big one for me, so I'll take a little bit of damage to have to go into the spooky black hole, but it's worth it, because as you can see in this room, there's no enemies, and as you may guess, no enemies is faster than enemies. So this character is called Chaos, and they'll offer me some power-ups that actually come with like a consequence, and then a reward, basically. So if you deal with the consequence for a few rooms, then you'll get a reward. These are all actually really bad, so I'm gonna try and roll for a curse that's less bad. Let's see, I can't earn coins is not a problem, because I have a lot of coins. Some of the curses will be terrible things, like every time you use your attack, you take damage, and as you can imagine, if I took damage every time I shot one bullet, though the game would be over pretty quickly, so we want to stay away from things like that.
Tuned up.
Right there, I just picked up a Hammer of Daedalus, which just gives some weapon-specific power-ups to you. And that big ol' attack I just did right there was I used my summon, who is Megara, one of the Furies. She's sort of one of your, like, love interest or rival characters in the game. And once you create a strong enough bond with a character, they give you a, basically a summon. So only a few times per run can I use her summon to deal a ton of damage, which you'll see me use on most of the bosses and on nearly all the mini-bosses.
No thanks. Love it.
And here's one of the safe rooms in the run. This here is Sisyphus, and his big boulder, Boldy. Well, we can talk to the boulder too. He's very nice. He's not very, you know, well spoken, but he's friendly. And actually, talking to the boulder gives you a power up, the Heart of Stone.
You give him hell for me, all right, Princess?
And Sisyphus gives us a reward, so I don't know if I can collect any coins right now. Yeah, because of Chaos's curse, so I'll take some health.
Good idea.
So Sisyphus just helps you out, and most importantly, the timer stops in that room, which is very good as well. And back into the action.
My boon from chaos is transformed.
Throughout the run, I'll see these little purple, like, bathtubs, I don't know, where you can buy some little items. There's not really anything in here I see that I want right away, but sometimes there's some incredibly useful things for the speed game and just for good gameplay in general. Here's Charon's shop. Do I want anything? I think I'm good, but I do still like it because there's no enemies, so we still get to sort of skip an encounter in that sense.
Yo, not gonna lie, Boldy is my favorite so far.
Isn't he just a friend? You know what I mean?
He is so friend-shaped. And I relate a lot with Sisyphus. He's probably one of the Greek legends I relate with the most. So, that's cool that we got to see him in this run.
I know, and doesn't his predicament just make you feel a little better knowing that at least his boulder is a friend?
Yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. You know, if you have to push a boulder up a hill for all eternity, At least it's friendships.
That's what
At
I'm
least it's-
saying. We're big
at least
fans
it's a
of
boulder
Boldy
that-
in the speedrun community.
Wonderful.
So here we are in the last shop. I think I don't really want anything. Maybe I'll buy the health just because I do have a lot of money.
Cheers,
And now
mate.
we're on to the boss of this first little region of the underworld. So we've been in Tartarus, which is
Hello,
like, you know, the
sisters.
lowest circle. So to get out, we have to fight a boss, which it's my girlfriend, Megara. You just helped me. Well, you know, such is her fickle relationship. But we'll still do our best to defeat her because we know she won't hold back. She's also getting help from one of her sisters, Tisiphone, which does make the fight a little tougher, but say love you, we'll get through it.
Try this.
Oh man. So we just took a death here, which is okay. They have a thing in this game called a death defiance, where if you die once, it's not game over. You can die a couple times. So each time you die, you come back with about half of your
Nice
health.
seeing you.
I can do that 3 times. So I'd like not to use one there, but it's not the end of the world. And here we get this little safe room in between the
Megara
areas.
seems to be having
So we get a little bit of
difficulties.
healing. We can equip a new item.
Which
These
to
items
choose?
basically can influence which gods you encounter to give you power-ups. So I really would like to see Poseidon, so I'm going to grab his item, which is the conch shell. And grabbing this item means that the next god I encounter is
Okay.
going to be Poseidon, which is super helpful. So as you can see here, I could get a new Death Defiance, but I can't afford it, which is a bummer, but we'll be okay. We'll get through. We can always hope to buy one later.
Closer to the surface.
And just like that, that's the first region of the underworld done. There's 3 full-size ones, so there's 2 more that are that size, and then there's one sort of half region that's a little bit different, which we can explain when we get there. So for now, we're in Asphodel, which used to be some gorgeous meadows, but has lately the river Styx or whatever has overflowed, and now the whole place is full of lava, which, you know, at least I don't live here, so we'll get through it.
Mug, is now a good time for a little message.
Yeah, please.
Wonderful. Well, I just want to remind everyone that if you don't know who the RPG Valkyries are, we're an inclusive group of female and family-leaning speedrunners who all love and run RPGs. If you'd like to join our Discord, please use !Discord for the link in chat. Our Discord is open to all people and all genders.
Another message for you. Later, guys.
That's it for me.
Thanks, Happy Bear. So
Of
we've just
course.
encountered Hermes, who, as you could guess for a speedrun, is one of our favorite gods. He has some incredibly good boons for playing the game faster. He also has some that are kind of okay. Some that I just don't really need as much for the exact kind of like play style I'm doing. And he doesn't seem to have offered me that many. I have this option here at the bottom that I've used a couple times in the run already. You see this dice here where I can basically re-roll, so he'll show me a different option. I'm gonna take a chance and hope he gives me one that I really
Let's see
want.
what else.
Which he did. I really like this hyper sprint because every time I dash, which I do a lot, it lets me move 100% faster, which I'll show off really quick. So you see I'm gonna dash and then he's gonna move his feet really fast and do a little tick 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 like that, which getting the 100% move speed increase or whatever is really useful for us if we can get a great boon that Hermes offers later. So we're gonna hope we run into Hermes later so we can realize the fruits of that decision. And here's
Hey,
finally
got anything
Poseidon, who I
else?
really wanted to see, and he's going to give me one of my favorite boons ever, which is Tidal Dash, which means every time I dash, I'm just going to be surrounded by a big burst of water, which is going to help me deal even more damage. This was a safe room too, so we got pretty lucky. There's just a fountain where I can regain some health, and of course not have to fight any enemies. Here's another mini-boss where I'm going to try and use Meg's summon to hit both of these enemies. It's this giant Gorgon head, and also a big falling rock crusher. Let's see if she can hit them both. All right, Meg. And that allows us to wrap up that fight really quickly.
Good to kind of see you down there, man. Now here, take this.
some of the Meg summon usage are pretty much just like, you know, spam summon and win, but there's others in an instance like that where there's multiple enemies or maybe the boss moves around a lot that the timing of her is a little bit tricky. Some other people in the community have made some incredibly useful like tutorials, videos, and guides explaining how to best Meg on every boss, and I'm just so grateful for all the resources that this community has created that makes it so accessible to learn how to run this game. A lot of times.
Really.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Mug. I was just gonna say it really seems like a supportive community, and that's really encouraging to people who might be interested. I know the speedrun communities can be a little bit insular sometimes, so that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. There's some absolutely, you know, phenomenal runners. There's people who can beat this game in 5 minutes, which just blows my mind, but they will always take the time to, you know, even someone like me who I consider myself, you know, okay at it, but they will always, you know, take the time to give advice and share the things that they know. We even have a channel on the Discord where you can post a video of your run and someone can give you advice on it, basically like play by play, which is just incredibly kind and generous of everyone who participates in those reviews. I'm gonna buy some health. A lot of times you'll see me pausing at the end of the room like that, and it's because while I'm paused, the in-game timer isn't running, which is the timer that we usually use to time these runs. So I'm usually not in a rush to get through menus like this because the in-game timer isn't running. And now we are at the boss of the second region of the underworld. We're gonna fight the boss of Asphodel, which is Lerny, the Bone Hydra. This is one of those things where I make the game a little intentionally harder to make the game a little faster. As you can see, there's so much lava in and around this arena right now, but by making it this way as opposed to the usual map, the usual map is a lot safer, but it is a bit bigger and more spread out. So I like having all of the Bone Hydra's little separate heads close together to make it easier for me to get to them and take out multiple of them at once. As you can see, it also makes it much more hazardous. And that's it. That's 2 regions down. I know that one, that boss fight is quite a mess of flashing lights and noises, so sometimes I feel like it might be hard to follow what's happening, but we did it. And now we get another little safe room to recharge and whatnot.
Off to cooler climates then.
So I get another choice of item here in the middle. I kind of have all the gods that I want. I got Zeus's, I got Zeus and I got Poseidon. And I got a pretty good power up with Aphrodite, so there's not really another god that I want to sort of specifically call upon. So luckily there's a lot of other items with good effects that we can go with as well. I'm gonna see if I maybe want to sell something I have. In this red like blood fountain, you can sell power-ups you've already gotten. It's obviously a trade-off because the power-ups are good, but you might really need the money. I was thinking about selling this, but I think it's gonna come in handy, so I'm gonna pass on it. And instead I'm gonna take this item, which is the Chthonic coin purse. And it doesn't really give me any power-ups, but it does give me some extra money, which is gonna come in handy, I think, in this next environment. And we can go with another power-up later. Another really popular one is Hades himself gives you a power-up, actually, interestingly enough, though you would think he's trying to thwart your attempts, but we could rely on him. But I think I'm gonna go with the coin purse just because I could use the cash. And I'm gonna put it to use right away and grab some power-ups from this purple well here. And onward to the last main region of the underworld. We're going to Elysium. This is where all of the greatest champions and whatnot who have died come to rest. So we're going to be fighting a lot of former warriors, basically. So you're going to see lots of archers and swordsmen, and of course more of these wizards, because, you know, every video game's got to have wizard enemies, right?
see how we can modify the rail. Let's see.
Mug, can I jump in with an update on one of our donation incentives?
Please do.
Excellent. Well, Virtual Highlight,
See how this
y'all
goes.
heard my call for donations, and I am so grateful. We are at $250 out of 325, so we just need 75 more in order to meet that random seed donation. And as Cloud Shoe said earlier, nobody wants to see a non-random seeded Virtual Highlight. A random seed is where it's at. We've got a few hours left to get this $75. I know we can do it. Back to you, Mug.
Yeah, who wants to see a
In the name of Hades.
common run? We want to see something random. Oh hey, remember when I said hopefully we could get another Death Defiance at some point throughout the run? Our time has come, because here's another safe room. This one is the Elysium special, and this kind character here is Patroclus. He's a little shy, but he's incredibly useful, because what he's going to give me is a free replenish of that Death Defiance we used back against Meg. He's so nice.
Honestly, I love shy boys.
I know, he's so kind. At first he's a little bit standoffish, but he warms up to you
No urns
eventually.
permitted in this
Ooh.
chamber.
Thank goodness I just found this pot with a little bit of money. It gave me just enough to buy this
I can
Zeus
use
power
this.
up.
Whoa,
Man,
such a
that's-
coincidence.
I know. Now, you see I have two room options here. I shouldn't be standing around because the timer's running, but I just want to demonstrate. This door's got a skull on it, which means it's going to be like a mini boss likely, which is a faster room than a regular room, but Hermes is behind this door, and like I said, I really wanted to see him again, so I think for the sake of hopefully getting a better power-up that I really want, that I'm going to take this longer room, and hopefully it pays off. Ouch.
Phew.
Okay, it didn't pay off, but we can still work with this. We could get an extra dash, which is always useful. Not a total loss. But that's pretty much what makes this game difficult, is having to make decisions on the fly. You know the route is never going to be the same every time. And I think that's why it doesn't get old.
Should fetch me
Yeah,
some-
honestly, having that variety, because one of the banes of speedrunners' existence is like, oh, I've done this 500 times. The grind is so boring. So if there's a way to change it up every time, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, like I said, there, you know, there's so many different weapons that you can use in the game and all that good stuff. So there's really a million different ways to run it as well. So even I found that as I was practicing my gun run, I did find myself getting a little, almost like burnt out. I did feel myself getting a little bit tired of it. So then I started learning another weapon, and that was really fun. I still got to play the game that I know and love, but with a little different, like, sort of fresh look on it. Of course, I wasn't as good at it, but it gave me, like, I don't know, it felt like sort of learning a new game, just not from scratch. And then I was refreshed to come back to my beloved gun. Let's see, I have a lot of money, so we might as well just go all out and buy as much as we can.
All in one place.
The thing to know about this family, dearest, is
Oh, they're offering
feel free
me
to
a
say something.
combination
I
boon.
was just
I just purchased Aphrodite's power-up, but Poseidon decided to step in as well. They have, so some of the power-ups you can receive are like this, where it's a 2-for-1. So their power-up is quite good in that it powers up my power-ups. So that's gonna come in handy, especially because I'm about to buy one right
Good
now.
enough to eat.
So now, as you can see, the pomegranate of power is gonna raise my boons by 2 levels instead of 1. Thanks, Aphrodite and Poseidon. And now we're on to the 3rd boss. This is going to be the 2-champion duo of Theseus and Asterius. And with one simple little trick that speedrunners don't want you to know about, I can use my Meg to hit them both at once. As soon as the fight starts, I'm just gonna tap up on my pad so Zagreus is facing the top of the screen, and then I'm just gonna slam that Meg.
Meg.
Beware, me champion.
And just like that, you start the fight with them taking a huge chunk of damage.
Try all you like. Goddess Athena, I need your aid now.
And just like that, that's the third boss over and done with. That fight was a fight that I struggled with so much playing this game casually. I remember just when I was first trying to beat this game, it's just these two would always kick my butt. So being able to blast through their fight in 40 seconds has been a pretty satisfying growth moment. And as a reward, in spite of all of these fans of Theseus, we can walk over here and see there's one fan with a little Zagreus banner. And that fan is you all, chat. So thanks for being here for me.
Service exit, thanks.
Aw, that's so precious.
Isn't it? And so with that, we're on to our last area of the underworld. I have depleted my coin purse. We put that to good use, so it's time to grab one more power up. I might go with Dad's power up, but let me just peek see what we've got here in the well. I think we will. I think we're gonna go with this Dad power up here. It's not the best power up ever, but if you don't have one by this point, it's like a safe one to go with. Another great choice is Eurydice's Acorn, where it basically gives you a force field for the beginning of the fight. That's a pretty safe one. It is a marathon, so maybe we should err on the safe side, right? Or should we go for it? What do you think, Happy Bear?
You know, honestly, Meg, I have confidence in you that you can do the risky strat. I don't think now is the time to be safe. I think now is the time to take chances, make mistakes, and get messy.
Alright, well, get messy we shall then. Not that this one is too risky, luckily. I've been trying to play on the safe side for most of this run. I would have been so embarrassed if I was risky and that we didn't win. So let's not do that. Let's just play a comfy amount of risk. And so with this, we're on to our last region of the underworld. This is Styx, which is formatted a bit differently in that instead of just going through a linear set of chambers, we actually have this choice here. And behind one of these doors is an item that we're gonna need to find in order to advance. It'll never be in the first one, so that's fine. But it might be in the second one. I hope it's in the second one. It might be in the last one. That would be bad. So let's take the first one. I'm gonna take this skull room because, like I said, the mini bosses are usually faster. And after this, just hope that we find what we're looking for in the next one. So these chambers are very small and just packed with a small amount of enemies. It's a little bit different from the main rooms, which were big and sprawling and had wave after wave of enemies. So this is a time where an attack like Poseidon's, where I'm surrounded by that burst of water, really comes in handy to just damage all the enemies in this tight little space. So a lot of the building of your build is, you know, obviously you want to get through the main gameplay, but we sort of have to plan with this region in mind as well.
Uncle Poseidon.
Now at this point, I know that the end is near-ish, so I'm kind of trying to just think of the final boss fight in mind. But as I was just saying about dealing AoE damage in these tight corridors, I'm gonna go with this one because it will certainly help us blow through these little Styx chambers. After this, it's totally just luck, so I'm just gonna pick items that I want and hope that what I need is happens to also be behind the item that I want.
No way.
There are speedrunning mod packs that they've created for this game that just sort of eliminate the type of RNG that just ruins the run. So for example, you know, if the very first god you encounter out of the gate doesn't give you the power up you need, you might as well just reset. So in order to avoid that, they've created mod packs where the first time you see the god, they'll always give you, you know, oh my gosh, we did it! It was right here in the second one. Guys, it was you all's good luck. Anyway, the mod packs are super convenient, but I don't know how to figure out how to install any of that stuff, so I just play on the unmodded, and I just rely on you all to give me good luck.
Let me just say to you, that money hoarding.
Now, speedrunners will tell you not to go to this last shop here because it's a waste of time, but I like having the extra power-ups. It makes me feel better, so... Alrighty,
That
and
was
with
very impressive.
thank you. So with that, the item that we found is actually Cerberus' favorite treat. He's our dog. So instead of fighting him, because he's our beloved best boy, we instead found his favorite treat to bribe him out of the way. And that's how we'll deal with the quote-unquote boss of Styx. And with that, it's time for the final boss. It's time to fight Hades himself. So this is the first time Zagreus gets out actually to like the surface of the earth out of hell. So now you see he's on this snowy landscape. We're like somewhere unspecified in Greece. And it's time for the final showdown.
The blasted fates shall favor me for once.
I have one. I've saved my Meg summons so that I have one left for Hades. Hades has 2 phases. And in the first phase, he summons a lot of enemies, and he actually disappears and reappears a lot, which we don't like, because while he's disappeared, you can't damage him. So I want to get through this first phase as soon as possible to get to the second phase, which is more of a one-on-one. So I'm going to use my Meg immediately to try and just get a big chunk of his health out the way so we can get this first phase done with. So here comes, I'm going to spam my Meg as soon as I can move.
You are embarrassing me, Zach.
And I feel bad that I gotta make her turn against her boss like that, but you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. Ouchie. For the most part, I'm just trying to ignore all of the extra summons. Obviously, I don't want to be damaged by them, but it is going to waste my time to try and focus my energies on them. Whereas if I just get them out of this first phase, they'll just go away anyway.
Darkness.
Chat, I want to see some hype, dance, energy emotes.
Yeah, thanks.
Chat,
So I do need to
that-
focus a little, so I won't be super talkative during this fight. But there's
No
that
worries.
first phase down. So during this second phase, it's just gonna be us. I have 2 Death Defiance left, so we should be able to get through this, no biggie. He's just gonna spawn lots of hazards, he's gonna swing his mighty spear at me, and I'm just gonna button mash through it all, to boil it down.
That's one of the things that always annoys me so much in final boss fights is when they summon like so many hazards, you know, floating heads to keep you occupied, or
Right.
tons of projectiles.
Enough with the
or-
floating heads.
Seriously, just fight us like a real boss.
Alright, time's coming up real soon once he falls to his knee. And that's time.
GG, Mug. Good job.
Thank you.
You have
And you know,
defeated me
looking at the
somehow.
in-game timer, knowing that I spent a good amount of time standing around explaining things, overall it's a pretty good time for me too.
Cannot remain.
Yeah, for sure. That was under a half hour. That was really, really good.
Thank you.
Father's name.
Well, I'll speed through this because I'm gonna get to what I know you all wanted to see, which is petting Cerberus, which is the main feature of this game. But while I finish that up, I just wanted to say that, as I mentioned before, the Hades speedrunning community is just so friendly and welcoming. This is a great game, so I suppose it was that great people were attracted to it. All the guides and resources that were written is like, without those I never could have gotten to the point that I've got in this game. And everyone in the Discord is always so supportive. It's somewhat of a big chat, but there's always going to be someone who will answer you and want to lend a helping hand. And a special shout out to the user Lily, who wrote the guide for for the weapon that I'm using. It's my Bible, and so big shout out to them for writing that, and to everyone else in the Discord who's ever come into my streams or watched my VODs to give me advice and stuff. Now the moment you've all been waiting for is, of course, here's our best boy laying on his little rug, and we're gonna give him a little pet just to wrap things up.
Oh my god. It
He
is
does a big
so
stretch.
cute.
And that's pretty much all there is to it. So this game is a joy to play casually as well. It's about $25, I think, on Steam. It's available on Switch, and it's even on Xbox Game Pass, I think. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, you can play this amazing game for free. And of course, now's the time to get into it, now that there's a lot of hype around the series with Hades 2 in the works as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Mug, for giving us a super entertaining and fun run. Lots of people like Hades, and I'm sure that everyone in chat liked that. Well, on a personal note, I am going to embarrass Mug a little bit and say that not only is Mug a talented speedrunner, they are also
You're my good
an
boy,
incredibly
yes, you are.
talented emote artist. All of my emotes are done by Mug, and so if you need any emotes or other drawings or things like that done, Mug is a great choice for that.
OMG, you're so kind. Yeah, I mean, not to like brag, but if you find my Twitter is linked through my Twitch, and you can hit me up there anytime. My commissions are open at the moment. I love making emotes. So yeah, free shout out. I'd be happy to work with you anytime.
Right on. Well, another multi-talented speedrunner. We have so many of them here in Speedrun Ragnarok, and I can't wait to host for more talented speedrunners who are coming up soon. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that we are RPG Valkyries sponsoring Speedrun Ragnarok, and we are raising money for Take This. And how much money have we raised so far? Almost $5,000. 4,555 to be exact. And I think we can get to 5,000 by the end of the day. We have a really cool run coming up tonight with BS Legend of Zelda. This is a game that was only ever released on the Satellaview, which was kind of like the 90s version of a streaming service like Xbox Game Pass, where you would actually get a game beamed onto your Super Nintendo using a special add-on. This game is rarely seen, and so being able to see it in the wild is a treat. That is going to be tonight, and we have a naming incentive for it. We have 5 different names: Zelda, Chat, Nikos, Take This, and of course, Lonk. And you will not be surprised to know that Lonk is in the lead with $5. All the others have 0, so there's a great opportunity to name the main character, Link, I believe, whoever or whatever you want. Alright everyone, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will be watching Bloop do Kirby's Dream Land. Don't go away, we will be right back.